live now. What's going on, gentlemen? How you been?
Well, this is our first time ever meeting, but yesterday I woke up kind of depressed, and I figured out what I needed to do. I was telling Galen this. Work out. Go stretch. Go drink some water. Like, and the thing is that you don't really know too much about my lifestyle, but, bro, I used to be into breathing techniques like pranayama, doing the 4 count, Bastrika, all that. Wake up in the morning, stretch, hit the dog pose. And it's been a grip this year. I haven't done it. Like, I started this year off with COVID, and then it's not really an excuse, but that like derailed my shit.
Meaning you had COVID?
Yes. Of course, we all started this year with quote unquote COVID pandemic, but I got it in early January, and then as soon as it was gone, I was out in California, busting moves. And then I'm out there for 2 weeks living on some air mattresses and all that shit. And then I come back home and I'm like, I can finally get my life started again. And then my manager hits me up the second day I'm back and he's like, hey, got to shoot a music video this coming weekend. It's in LA. I went straight back into it. And then ever since I got back, I've been trying to get my life back in order.
That can't be too bad of a call to get, though. Hey, man, got to shoot a music video. You're like,
unless it's just after you drove all the way from
that drive.
That's a solid point.
Within the day, I don't think I could do 12 hours along the same drive.
I was around so many different personalities and characters. Like, man, 2 weeks of that, and then I just want to be in my own bed, and then I get told I can only be in my bed for 1 week before I have to go take a day trip out there. I'm like, But ever since then, I've been trying to get my life straight.
Well, it's funny that you bring up, like, the first thing, boom, revive. You're like, all right. So I was depressed. There's a lot of people that don't do those same exercises that you just said, like breathing exercises, going out into sun, exercising, like being in sunlight. I forget who it was and where I heard it from, but it was like, you're upset, you're depressed. Have you sang today? Have you danced today? Have you exercised today? Have you been in sunlight? Have you been anywhere outside of your own being? And if not, then yeah, you probably have this weird sense of sadness inside of you, or sense of self that you can't really deal with because you're not showing anyone else. Or what?
Or enjoy.
Yeah, but it's personal enjoyment, right? If you're dancing, you're dancing. I'd like to think you're dancing for yourself. You're singing for yourself. I know there's a whole bunch of people that do it for other people, and that's fine. But when you do it for yourself, nothing can stop you, and you feel that certain amount of empowerment.
I think putting it simply, it's like doing the things that make you happy, that bring that happiness in. And it's very easy in our day-to-day monotonous doing things that really fuck up our schedule. We sometimes forget to do the things that make us most happy. Like when I wake up in the morning, like one of the first things that my brain loves is cracking open some Perrier or whatever it is and just having some sparkling water. Used to hate it, but now it makes my body like, I'm awake.
See, yes. I'm about it. If you haven't gotten onto the sparkling water trend, dude, so it started with LaCroix, and I was like, I might be a basic bitch. I might have been a basic, but then like it's 100. You're 100% correct. Like regular water, that's cool, but something that like sparkles makes my mouth feel cool. Like someone told me, LaCroix, whenever you drink it, it's like you're drinking water, but then from the other room, someone's like, grapefruit. You're like, oh, that's what the fuck I'm drinking. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's what I'm drinking. It's just right there. It's somewhere right there.
It's just a hint.
Strawberry. Oh, got it.
There it is.
Right.
But it's true. Like I only have sparkling water in my house, and that's why when you said that, I'm like, he gets it. He gets it.
Yeah.
There's something about sparkling water that I'm just like, it's just different.
It's just like a refreshing beer Bud Light.
It's 100%. 100%. It's just
basically sparkling water.
Yeah.
94% water.
Well, and it's funny because I think I went about, a lot of my close friends will be like, shut the fuck up. But I think I went about 7 days, no drinks. And I was just straight sparkling water. And then my wife comes home with a whole bunch of White Claw. And I'm like, I'll have a White Claw. And I took a sip and I'm like, oh my God. What in the fuck? Syrup. And it's just the sugar and like everything else that isn't present in bubbly or LaCroix or any of those, and you don't taste it. if you're so used to like drinking alcohol and drinking beer and drinking this and that, you don't really taste it. But if you go like a solid week of just straight sparkling water or just water in general, and you taste something super sugary, you're like, okay, it smacks you in the face.
Yeah,
Those
yeah.
malts are what fuck you
Sugar
up.
diet.
You said the malts?
The malts inside of those seltzers.
Hey, I mean,
That-
I thought
honestly-
you were talking about Mickey's
I
or
thought
something. I
you
mean,
were-
That as well, but you need it for all of it, right?
this is true.
You know, I gotta be honest. I already finished my beer.
Hey,
We got one right here.
I got right here.
Okay. Oh, you said right here. Come on. What you talking about? Thank you.
I got
Thank
you. 100%.
Right.
I wish we got sponsored by some sort of beer. Cause I could be like, hey, we'll get our sponsorship.
Hey,
Like,
right? Yo,
got that.
we got to work that out. We got to work that
100%.
out. Speaking of sponsorships, Waterloo sparkling water. They sent me like 94 cans.
no shit.
Yes.
What is it? Waterloose?
Waterloo sparkling water.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got sponsored. I wouldn't say sponsored. They sent us a case of, Pathwater, and I've never had it before, ever. And the whole thing is made of completely recycled aluminum. But then I'm like doing my research. I'm like, if I'm going to shout it out on the podcast, I should probably know a thing or two about it, like the name. But I'm doing the thing, and a lot of the hate mail that they got was like, oh, well, the inside is layered with, plastic and whatever. And I looked more into it, and I'm like, well, if you think about it, and I went through my wine sommelier and learned like off tastes and things like that. And I was going for my Cicerone and for beer and off tastes and things like that. And beer in a can, much different than beer in glass, right? Well, what's the biggest offset of taste?
He would know. He would know.
Wait, you know what I'm talking about?
I mean, I brew beer. So.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
You brew beer.
Yeah, dude.
Like often?
Yeah, I just brewed.
Or is it just like I don't know, it's a
No.
weekend.
I brew a batch with my dad mostly, and we brew 5 gallons, and we have 2 corny kegs rotating in a fridge that we found in the alley, drilled taps into. It's great.
I'm going to need you to bring some here and let's just fucking pump kegs. Like, let's go.
Work, man. Let's do it.
I am about it.
But yeah, they got a whole bunch of hate because they line their aluminum with plastic, but it's a very, very, very small percentage of plastic. And if you don't do that, your water's going to taste like shit.
Yeah.
And so it's like, in the grand scheme of things, they're eliminating the plastic that comes in, with getting water bottles and things like that. Greatest marketing scheme of all time. Pay for your water bottle. Hands down. Water should be universally free, but for the love of God, whoever came up with, I'm going to put water in a plastic and sell it.
Monetize the container.
That's what it is.
Don't monetize the source, monetize the container.
Then that's exactly what Pathwater's doing. And so what they did is they implore you to take your container and write your name on it. Like if there's a name, there's a spot for your name, reuse it, refill it, do whatever you got to do. And then, they got like 7.0 pH, sparkling, regular, like the whole deal. So I'd be interested to see what loose
deal
water
water.
has like in comparison to Pathwater.
Well, I didn't go that deep with them like that. Like, I drink it, I put it with liquor, get the little bubbly, get a little spice on my tongue. I'm cool,
you
like
go.
I ain't go hard like the pH level. I'm like,
That alkaline water.
you're right.
To be fair, I don't even know. Can someone identify what the difference is with alkaline water and because I'm a dumbass. I'm not really
So
sure.
it's just
Acidity
to
level.
promote like you have cortisol levels in your body, right? And that's kind of acidic. So what the idea behind alkaline water, it's like very minor levels to bring the acidity of your overall biochemistry down. Similar to like if you've ever taken baking soda while you're sick, or something like that. Yeah,
Only when
that's-
I'm chafing.
Well, that's one way to do it. No chafe, you're safe.
Exactly.
You're saying.
Can we get that on a T-shirt?
For sure.
You know,
Monetize
when
that
you
shit.
say it, it's gonna be shot down.
We do have a T-shirt lamination press at my house.
Oh shit,
Oh.
that's true.
Yeah, try
Have
to
you guys
make
seen
some
this
shit.
dude's shirt? It's your
The one
roommate's,
he's
right?
wearing?
Yeah.
Great.
Spot on.
Let me get 5 of those.
No, this dude, it's your roommate, right?
Yeah, he just one day fucking ordered some like kit off Amazon, and he had already been doing some shit with like a photolithography. So it's basically the same process of like developing a picture, and he did that to make the masks for it. And he does the designs on like Microsoft Paint, like, and yeah, he just fucking does the mask and develops it, and then he puts it on this stretcher for the T-shirt, and then puts the paint over.
Yeah. I'm hip to the process.
Dude, it's
have you
dope.
made your own shirts?
I haven't, but I mean, he's made a bunch of them, and I have some that he's made.
Yeah.
One of the ones that he wore to Nashville because we were supposed to play in Nashville. I was like, I'd wear that. I would like hands down. I will put money behind that because that's got to be. It's what is it, like a milk shirt?
Yeah,
that
it's
says,
a milk shirt in the back, and it's like, "Have you seen my beer?" And it's like a lost child, but with the beer. It's like last seen, like literally 2 seconds ago. Last appearance, totally full.
So y'all do music as well. I already know you do music, but like y'all was in a band. Like, wait, what? Fill me in. Like,
oh come on, man, this interview's about you.
oh, true, true, but like I'm chopping it up.
Yeah, Brandon and I have been friends for
Probably 5-6 years.
probably 5
now.
or 6 years. Yeah,
And we met through someone that I was doing rock band with.
Yeah.
The class at ASU, our buddy Bane, and he would just bring me over to his house. And the first time I met this man, he was just tripping balls. It's like, hi.
Wait, you were tripping balls or bang?
this guy right here.
That guy. Okay.
This guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was you tripping balls off of?
Oh, I was pretty deep off of some Lucy. Yeah, it wasn't.
And the first thing he like looks at me, he's like, "Hi, I'm Tyler, and I'm on acid," and he just goes right back to the couch. And I'm like,
Hi, I'm Tyler.
All right.
I'm on acid. Don't
Well,
fuck up my trip.
Exactly. You gotta set the precedence because it's like, look, you can make a sudden movement and set this whole room on fire, and I'm really not trying to have that happen. But so long as we're cool, I'm gonna go back to my safe spot.
And we were cool. We fucking went to the band room, and then he came out of his safe spot and started jamming with us, and that was pretty dope. That's how we first met.
Yeah,
Just
and
played
then
music from the get go.
I think after that it was more of like, every now and again Brandon would come over with Bane and we would jam, and then long story short, Bane ended up moving out of the state, and I started with another buddy of mine, Grant, and we were getting some tunes together, and I called Brandon and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna send you something. You could love it or hate it. I just want your feedback because I love you as a musician and I would love to see if you're a part of it. So I sent it to him and he's like, when are you jamming next? I'm like, okay, let's do this. So
Say less.
we started going along that path, and we actually ended up writing like a full-on album that we recorded in my house and everything else. It wasn't studio quality by any means, but it was a jumping off point for sure.
Yeah.
And now we're just kind of after setting everything up with the podcast and getting the studio where we want it to be. Now we're refocusing and writing a new album.
Writing new stuff.
Oh
Dude.
shit! What's the band called?
We don't really. It's
Dude,
odd.
yeah.
Focus
So
on the art. Yeah.
the first time that we did it, no one really agreed with the name, but I thought it was hilarious because I like to impersonate being a douchebag. Let's be honest. I look
Douche.
like a douchebag. Like if I was to walk into a bar and I was like, "What's up? I'll take a Heineken." You're like, "Okay, that guy's a douchebag."
Douchebag.
But you got to wear it, right? A douchebag that doesn't know he's a douchebag is an even bigger douchebag. A douchebag that wears the douchebag symbol on his sleeve, it's like, "What's up, player? Name's Ty. I just like to fuck." Like you gotta have the you gotta at least wear it a little bit. So I ran with that, and a big joke was like, any dude named Chad or any dude named Tyler, would go up to a group and be like, "Hell yeah, player!" And so I was like, "Oh well, our music's pretty hype." And then I was like, "Hype."
And we had a whole
Hell
phase.
yeah, Hell yeah, player! And then it just kind of HYP just kind of stuck, and so it just kind of sent it.
HYP.
Hype.
I'm cool with HYP if that's what y'all go with.
Not anymore. I mean, it was a phase.
Oh, it was a
phase.
phase.
Okay,
it was a
hell
phase.
yeah,
It was a
play.
phase.
We went to Hot Topic, bought the clothes, and called it a day. It was quick.
That wasn't quick. You put financial investment behind it.
And a whole 7 months
Right.
of recording.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
But yeah, it was a good time. And now, I mean, shit, we almost played Adventure in Nashville,
Yeah, that was.
and then we got escorted out.
Ordeal.
Or should I say, I got escorted out.
Basically.
Yeah.
It happens like
It
that.
happens like that.
Some shit that happen like that.
Well, Rozo, let's talk about you for a sec. And so it's RozoTadi.
RozoTadi, don't matter.
Okay, was that like Leviosa or Leviosan? Or
Vingardium
what was the?
Well, whatever you want to. Just
I like
Rozo,
Toddy.
RozoTadi.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Right.
RozoTadi, Rozo or Toddy.
Yeah,
Got it.
you said it. I'm not tripping, baby.
Well, when you walked up and I saw, your fit, I was like, fuck, dude. And I'm all wearing like a gray V-neck. I'm like, no, I got to wear the hentai shirt. Like
You gotta wear.
That's definitely happening.
Give me some tentacle.
100%.
Give me some tentacle.
Well, and it's funny because I asked the group before y'all came in. I'm like, y'all know like what hentai means, right? Like I didn't just shout that out. And Willie, we love him. He owns this podcast.
We love him.
He owns the space. I was like, I know you've seen some tentacle porn. He's like, I haven't. I'm like,
I haven't. That's his action. I haven't.
I'm gonna show you some tentacle porn. You haven't gone deep enough into Pornhub if you haven't seen it at least once. Like, ooh, what's this? Oh,
That's what it is.
That's what that does.
and you either
That
sit
goes where?
or where doesn't it go?
How did it enter there and come out of there?
And in the same thing, it's there's one of two people. Either it's the all right exit, or it's the let's see the last 30 seconds and see what happens. Like, let's go and
Let's explore.
I'm gonna skip 30 seconds, see where it goes. You feel me? Like,
is there a storyline? No.
Check the character arc.
damn,
Story development.
good concept, but execution.
Yeah, the execution. I just don't get the CGI. Maybe they could have put more effort into it.
Right, the animation was not hitting.
Watch
Like,
the CGI ones.
100%.
Oh,
Damn,
like the
do you
ones
pay
they
for that?
They model after like video games.
Choose this, choose that. Okay, we're going deep down a rabbit hole.
yeah,
Deep down the tentacle.
It's on the
So,
Oculus.
okay, can we talk about that for a second if you guys have a second?
I have a second for some Valve Index. Yeah,
I got an Oculus recently.
Nice.
So my mom reached out and she was like, hey, I got you a present. And I was like, oh, no shit. Doesn't happen often. But she's like, I got you a present for your birthday. I'm like, fuck yeah. So, I'm like, am I going to use it? Like, that's my biggest thing. Like, if you're going to get me a present, I mean, I've come to the age where I'm like, can I get some socks? Can I get some underwear? Shit. I'll deal with some jeans. Like, I don't give a fuck. You can be Arizona brand jeans. I don't give a fuck what kind of jeans you give me. I'll wear them just to have them. Yeah.
yeah.
I need pants.
So she's like, I'm not going to tell you, but just know it's of a decent price. And I'm like, please don't. Like when someone's like,
It's
I paid a good amount. And it's like,
Why'd you tell me?
you didn't have to, So she's like, it's the same thing I got your sister. I'm like, oh boy. My sister's fucking 9. And I'm like, I swear to God, if you got me a Miley Cyrus like sing-along set, I'm going to be pissed. I'll love it because you got it for me. And so I end up getting it and it's the Oculus 2. And I'm like, that's pretty sweet. But I'm not a big gamer. Like I don't really do the whole,
So you went to the VR hentai.
100%.
I'm not a big gamer, so I went to the tentacle porn. Like,
So to get an Oculus and not immediately say, well, it's like getting a new iPhone, like with a crystal clear screen. Let's just try this out, or an iPad. Oh, bigger screen. Let's just try this out. So you try it out, and I'm like, oh, this is a different world, right? If you have a handheld phone, you got access to whatever the fuck you want. If you're on Oculus, they kind of limit your categories a little bit. And I don't know if you guys have tried this before, but I'm just going to go out and send it and say, I have 100% tried it. So you've been there.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't just get fucked by one chick. You get automatically 3 to 16 sucking your dick in VR at any time. You go on Pornhub and it's like, okay, what do you want? You want 3, 4, 5, 6, 16, 21, gangbang? What do you want?
That. Like, I didn't try that.
It wasn't even a search. It wasn't even like a gangbang search. It was like VR porn, and it's like 3 horny sluts sucking your cock. I'm like, what the fuck?
Whoa, you can do that?
Yeah.
Already?
Yeah. I was
they
like,
work fast.
and I'm sitting here and I'm just like, I tell my wife,
Work fast.
I sat here and told my wife, I'm like, hey,
You gotta try this.
I'm like, hey, this is some different shit that I'm gonna need you to kind of get on board with because it's pretty brand new.
Yo, she was like, you know what? That shit do kind of hit though. Like,
Needless to say, we still have it by our bedside, so it doesn't,
no, the whole VR craze, man. I remember when Samsung, they sent out VR headsets where you can put your phone in it. And that's how they got people into it on like a mass kind of thing. And that was cool. I still got that headset, but
It ain't as real.
I don't give a fuck about it, But I tried my homie's Oculus Rift. I'm like, hold on. You can do what? You can feel this? You can kill people this way?
Yes.
Like, I kind of like that, you know? So it was, that shit changed my mind about video games. I'm like, damn, I don't got no friends on Xbox. Got a new friend, Galen. But I don't.
Shout out.
Yeah, the VR shit, I love that shit. I don't got one yet. I'm getting the Valve Index because that's like.
Wait. What is this?
The Valve Index. So I don't know if you know who Valve is. They created Left 4 Dead, Half-Life, etc. They are into the whole tech thing as well. They have the best VR kit on the market right now. It's $1,000. The sensors on it are crazy. The base cameras that they do to like map out your entire environment, crazy, insane. And there's like sensors within the headset. And then I'm like, what the fuck is all this shit? And the games that you can, the shit you can do in games, bro.
Well, you've heard, you know, where everything's going, right? You know, they have that remember when Google Lens was a big thing and they were talking about that, and you could
that never got.
it never got that big. But I mean, I come from the Minecraft thing where like right when I was done playing Xbox is when Minecraft got big, and I was definitely all about it. I'm like, oh fuck yeah, I can just sit here and trip out and fucking play Minecraft. And I saw Google Lens where this kid was like building Minecraft and then knocking shit over, and I was like,
augmented reality.
That looks dope.
Yes.
That looks dope.
Yo, headline, don't quote me on how many millions, but $112 million contract just got approved by the U.S. military. And the provider was Microsoft for augmented reality headsets.
For the military.
For the military.
Holy shit!
Of course.
Holy shit.
Training simulations are about to go crazy,
Like
man.
Yeah.
fucking Gundam.
They're fucking Dragon Ball Z to a point, bro. Like,
Let me ask you what you think about that when it comes to, you know, the where we're at with our military right now. I feel like during the last presidency, it wasn't very highly talked about what our military is doing. It was just like, you know, especially with North Korea right now, right? Let's just go there for a second. It was like, we're going to go with fire and fury. We're going to make sure that they whatever. And then Trump and Kim Jong-un met, and it was like, oh my God, we found our North Korean brothers and sisters. This is so great. And as soon as like Biden comes in, you know, I'm more independent and left leaning than right, but it just seems like since the whole Biden administration, now all of a sudden it's like, great, North Korea's starting up their nuclear program again. What the fuck changed?
come on, man. North Korea's been up to it since the beginning, though. They've always been doing different things.
Well, then they've done a really good job at keeping it quiet for the last 2 years.
I mean, shit, they don't even got internet like that.
I mean, they only kept it quiet for the last 2 years because we got the head Cheeto in charge.
They don't even know.
The head Cheeto in charge. I need another beer.
HCIC.
What do I
Hey,
need
that's
to
a
do
good
for-
one. I haven't heard that one yet.
Over there.
Oh, I got you right here.
There's
You want to make ultra?
Oh my gosh. Y'all talking about head Cheeto in charge and shit. Fuck that motherfucker. I don't give a fuck about him. If y'all want the candid, because I study sociology and music entrepreneurship.
Where'd you go
and
real
all
quick?
that. I'm at ASU. I'm currently there. I'm a senior.
Okay.
You're still there, nice.
Yes, still there. My whole thing about this situation, and this goes back to North Korea as well. Let's just think about the world actor theory, the rational actor theory, right?
Can you explain that a little bit?
Oh, I'm about to go deep in it.
All right.
Yes. So imagine that me and Galen are playwrights, right? We do our plays, we put our plays up on stage, we're acting or we're just writing the scripts, whatever happens. And you two are the audience members. You go and you watch it. You love it, you hate it, you cry, you laugh, whatever. You go back to the bar. I tap on Galen and I'm like, yo. So I've been watching these folks for a little bit. And I've been putting certain things within the script that, you know, I'm kind of putting them in the script and I'm having them do certain things, or I'm doing certain characteristics that makes them go all the way with themselves and so forth, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, they're fictional characters, but they're based on these two dudes. Let's follow them to the bar and see how they talk. So after the play is over, we go back to the bar, me and Galen, and we're watching you guys from the corner, and we're hearing how things are going. We made a hero character out of you on the play, on the stage, right? So we're at the bar, somebody bumps into your homie, whatever happens, we up the bam, you start playing out the exact scene that me and Galen created within the script, and we had our actors play out, right? And now here we are. Are we still the actors? Or are we the audience, right? And so being able to take this not from a
You're
micro
fucking my brain real quick.
right, from a micro scale to a macro scale, right? Talking about politics, talking about art,
Right.
talking about the power of these tangible things. So when it comes down to politics and politicians and all the different news media and the headlines and all that, are you the actor? Are you the audience? And it's very easy for us to feel like as a consumer, we're the audience. But one of the great things about art is the way that we can influence people. So are we beating the drum for war? Or are we beating the drum for love? Right? Yeah.
Jesus Christ. So, okay.
He put the beer down.
Yeah. Holy shit.
I picked the beer up.
So, well, because I have a couple different questions on that. You know, it turned from writing the script to then watching the script that you wrote play out because of something that hypothetically we would have watched, right? And we were influenced by, and then doing exactly what you had written, so to speak. And you're saying that plays a pretty heavy role in politics in terms of what we see on media, what we do on our day-to-day lives. Is that pretty accurate?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
So I don't know if you heard about Kim Jong-un's brother that got assassinated by those two women that you know smeared his face with, what was it called? I don't it was some agent
Poison.
that
Formaldehyde. I don't know.
it was some agent that they, you know, put on their hands and whatever. I watched a documentary that I think it was called Assassin. It was called Assassin. And holy shit, you know, those women were painted as assassins. They were painted as they were hired by North Korea to go and do exactly what North Korea wanted, which was kill Kim Jong-un's brother.
Kill the family.
And when you watch this documentary and you realize what they actually got themselves into, exactly what you just said, writing the script, they told these two women who were wanting to be actors that are from, I want to say they're not from North Korea, they're from
Somewhere.
yeah, but one of them, I want to say it wasn't India, but it was around that area.
Yeah.
You know, they wanted to be actresses and they wanted to do things, and they told them they were going to be on this game show, and they played with them for like a couple months of like, oh yeah, here's your first job. Oh, they did this. They filmed it. It's on YouTube. Oh, we're going to do another one. They filmed it. Here's this. It's on YouTube. Okay, this next one, you're going to put this thing on your hands and you're going to go up and you're just going to smear it on him. We're going to video it. And he's just going to freak out and then you're going to run away.
Yeah.
And they were at the center of an international crisis.
Yes.
And then they were put on trial to be executed because of this. Like, hello? I think it was Thailand. One of them was from Thailand. And
Southeast Asia.
Southeast Asia. But the government from, I want to say it was the Taiwanese government, I'm pretty positive.
Myanmar.
They came in and they were like, whoa, hold on. Like, they were like, we're going to, you know, defend our own.
Yeah.
And one of them got acquitted. And while the other one was like, I'm equally as innocent. Like,
Right.
I was played too.
They was like, shit, we can't do nothing for your ass.
Cross country lines, I don't know what to tell you.
Right, yeah.
But they both ended up getting off. And you look at a situation like that and you're like, how far does the reach go?
Yeah.
Right? How far does that go? I mean, sitting in America and watching that happen, you're like, oh,
Define reach.
I mean, you're talking North Korea reaching out to other countries
Yeah.
to independent actresses that would just want to make it.
Yeah.
And they find the one thing that's going to take them to the next level.
They put some thought in it.
And next thing you know, they're at the center of an international crisis
Uh-huh.
to the point of facing execution.
Yeah. So the little man, the little person always.
I thought you were talking about Kim Jong-un.
Nah.
Who's been missing, by the way.
They always get the brunt of it all, while the true people that have the hand in it get a slap on the wrist or walk away scot-free.
Yeah.
And when you're being a playwright and you're writing the way that things go, like, of course you obscene yourself of all blame. You put it on someone else as a scapegoat. But I saw him nodding his head. Like, do you have anything to add to this? Because this is up our alley.
More like have you guys read any Thomas Hobbes? Early political theory.
No, but should I start?
Well, it's what influenced our the way our country views democracy. As we've seen, it's all kind of like devolved and whatnot. And but anyways, he talks about the invisible hand, and it's like it's a guiding agent outside of the person. So whether that be the governing body has the invisible hand, or
your job can have an invisible hand. Other things that are outside of your
purview that influence that put you in situations
they directly
that inadvertently or advertently, both ways, influence the way you use your own personal agency or free will.
Yeah.
Right. So that whole thing of people being like, oh, we'll like just manipulate you and create this whole story, like it's just a grandiose con.
Yeah.
Right. It like the big con is always getting somebody to convince them to do something that they wouldn't normally do.
Right.
Because like if they came out right away and they're like, oh yeah, we just want you to smear this stuff on this leader's face or this leader's brother's face, and then they'd probably be like, that seems odd.
Yeah.
But then again, common sense isn't that common, so
True.
But when
Common
you're
sense isn't that common.
when you're blinded by the vision,
yeah.
the vision being
blinded by the
you're going to
vision.
make me a star,
Yeah, you're gonna make me a star. I'll do pretty much whatever you say.
and that's almost like
And it's okay.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's okay, but
depending on the influencing agent, sure.
But I would say they would be considered 100% innocent in the sense of you're just taking some bystander who is only living on a prayer at that point. Like, I knew it. You know, you're taking someone like that and their vulnerabilities and saying, I'm going to exploit them and I'm going to do it for political gain. Now, we can also, I mean, we can badger North Korea, but also in the same way, about less than a year ago, about 9 months ago, when it was COVID fury. What did our government say about masks? Don't wear a mask. Don't wear a mask. Don't worry about it. And the next thing you know, if anything,
They were just as lost as we fucking were.
well, not even. The only reason that they said don't wear a mask was because we didn't have the national supply to give to our first responders. So they said don't wear a mask, don't buy masks, which ended up shooting everyone up in COVID. And then they're like, oh, no, you have to wear a mask, you have to wear a mask. That really happened. Like, that's a real thing that our government did. They're like, no, don't do it. Don't worry about it. You're not going to, it doesn't help you. You're going to get it regardless. It's like, wait, what the fuck?
What the fuck?
Like I'm going to get it regardless. No. And then they're like, no, wear a mask.
That is your
Now that we have the amount of supplies that we need. Our government did the same thing, not in the same way, but it killed 500,000 people.
Yeah.
You know, it's more or less of the same.
You know what we call that around here? We call that incompetence. Incompetence. There's no other way around it. That is incompetence. And there's varying levels of incompetence with every single government that we have in the federal sense. But that is an incompetence that we should never forget about. Because when it's time for us to take over, we have to learn from our lessons in the past. Straight up. So whenever I end up in public office or whatever the fuck happens.
You said when, and I love that.
When, right? It's going to be a matter of all these old fucks that came before me. Yes, they were knowledgeable, but at the same time, they wasn't doing the right thing with their knowledge. And that's what I learned going to university. That these motherfuckers, they got it figured out, and then they did the wrong thing. And that was the scary part about learning about the world, rational actors theory and blah blah blah, and Immanuel Kant and all these different folks, Olson and all that. It's just like, damn, y'all really have this shit figured out. Then why is there genocide in post-colonial Rwanda?
Or even you know, the genocide that's going on in Armenia. I mean, no one gives light on that. The only people that have is System of a Down, Serge Tankian,
or the Uyghurs in China.
I mean, yeah. I mean, the amount of it's almost funny because I look at it on Instagram and I'm just like, oh, it's going on. Oh, this is something.
Shit.
And I feel
power
bad
of
because
social
I'm like, why the
media.
fuck don't I know more about this? So then you do your research. You're like, oh, this isn't just new.
Yeah,
It's been going on.
For a long time. For a long time. And the scary thing is that maybe not scary, but me as a public figure, and although I may be dormant to some people, I still understand the responsibility that some people feel like I hold. And I honestly believe that a responsibility that I hold isn't posting about it. It's about learning and listening and doing like other things about it in my own way. And so this past year and a half, I've been in the books, man. I've been learning about collective action, social formulas, like the whole idea of a 3-person group, and if one divides themselves from that, then something like all these different theories and formulas going on in the way that we can tangibly change shit. And I'm like, fuck, like now that I'm armed with this knowledge, has my responsibility always been this high, or is it even higher now? And that's like a question I've been asking myself lately. Like, has my responsibility to humanity and this earth always been this high? And the answer is 10 times out of 10, yes. Regardless of how much I know.
With more knowledge, it feels like the greater the responsibility.
Right, the brevity. So what happens to the people that don't have the access to this knowledge?
Yeah.
That are more worried about making sure that their bills is paid and that their kids is fed. It's like, what does it look like for their responsibility to be played out? And like, am I in any kind of situation to critique everybody in the revolution and everybody in the reformist movement? Like, is it my responsibility to do that?
Well, I think it's funny because you brought up a good point. You said that your public figure identity is dormant, right? But there's not a lot of people that would put themselves in your shoes, as in do what you do as an artist. And you are an artist, you're a musician, that's what you do.
I remember going to your dorm and just like your calendar was so filled and organized. And I'm like, damn.
You even saw the post-it notes. I put notes all
Notes
over my wall.
all over.
yeah.
Yeah.
Don't turn people into steps.
Well, hold on. What are those about? Break that down.
Which part?
The post-it notes, the calendar
Post-it
fold.
notes. Man. It was more for myself more than it was for the people that I had coming in and out of the studio, man. It's like one of the post-it notes that I'll always remember and that I give to any student that I've ever like led through an organization, anybody that I meet. It's don't turn people into steps. Make friends.
Yeah.
People are not just connections. Like, have that actual human aspect in the way that you move and make business and make art. And different things about stuff that I was striving and yearning for, having guiding quotes and forces at all times within my dorm room, right? And so having the definition of a manager on my wall every single day. So when I wake up and I look around my room, I know exactly what a manager is supposed to do. If I'm the bus, they have the steering wheel. They're the bus driver. You feel me? And so those are things that have stuck with me because I put them on my wall, because my calendar and my decision-making format was aligned with where I wanted to go.
My brother-in-law does the same thing. I mean, even he's he's what, I think 15 now. He's a phenomenal basketball player. I mean, this kid gets it.
Yeah.
He fucking gets it. Like, the kid he's going to be in the NBA, not even a question. But he does the same thing, except he puts quotes, he puts pictures, he puts, all these different inspirational shit on his wall. So when he wakes up, or if he's, in the dumps, or if he's feeling great, right? Or if he gets off of just murdering on Fortnite or whatever the fuck it may be, he looks around and he's like, you're going to make it one day, kid. And he's like, you know what? The fuck I am.
Boom.
I absolutely am. And my wife told me that, and I was like, part of me is, in my brain, I'm just like, okay, like, that seems like a lot of work. But at the same time, that's just motivation. And that's not motivation that anyone has to give you. That's self-motivation.
Right.
That's motivation that you put on the wall just for the one day that you need it.
Yeah.
Right? It's like you're planning it out. Maybe I'll need it one day. I might not need it now. But I'm going to put it up just in the instance that one day I might need that.
God, I hope my Jimi Hendrix poster works.
I saw that. The greatest guitarist of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope it works. Well, there's the thing about Jimi Hendrix, man. How many drugs are you doing? No.
Gotta do that liquid LSD and dip the bandana in.
There you go.
Then you're good.
Then you're solid.
Oh.
Or you're gonna do the Grateful Dead and just stick your thumb in some crystalline and stick it on your tongue, thumbprint. That's fucking see God.
See God.
God.
Oh my Lord.
You're up on stage like, guys, you don't understand where I'm at right
That's
now.
that Jerry
Like,
Garcia shit.
I was gonna say.
Santana interview.
I was about to say that. Yeah.
The snake.
Woodstock.
Yeah,
When
he's
he-
like,
this-
that's
his
when
guitar.
I truly like
Asking
biggest
God.
breakout moment of his like career, like really put him like on the map.
He was
And
asking God.
yeah, he's like he's like, please, dear God, let me play in key and
on time.
And
on
it's one of the
time.
best
I listen to
live
that
performances
so often.
ever.
of all time.
crazy.
I mean, they were playing it. When we were in Nashville, they were playing it during the Santana thing, and I'm just like, hey guys, check it out.
The actual drum.
He's
set
tripping
was
his nuts
there.
off right now. Like, guys.
ripping his nuts.
Yeah.
Out. Yo.
It's just, I mean, there's some people that can elevate themselves to that level and just murder the game. And then there's some people,
Skill.
not so much. You know, like okay, so Jim Morrison. Jim Morrison was able to go on stage whenever the fuck he wanted and just, I mean, put on a show. But it wasn't the Doors show. It was the Jim Morrison show, right? It was, what's he going to do this time?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is he gonna jump in the eye? I don't know. Is he gonna yell? I don't know. Is he gonna all of a sudden scream? Is he gonna just not talk for 30 minutes and just let the band play? Because then you talk to you see interviews from the band, and the band's like, yeah, sometimes we would just be like playing like,
What are we
all right, I guess we're just but some people can do that and some people can't. And I think that it just speaks to talent too. Like it almost comes down to muscle memory. You get down to this you're so good and you've been doing it for so fucking long, or you've just put in the work that you're just like, it doesn't matter what state I'm in.
I don't gotta think
I'm
about
just in my zen. And it almost, I bet that individual feels elevated.
You know, I got to be honest, because I haven't said this like on broadcast or anything. I have a song on the project called Jiggalate, and I wrote and recorded Jiggalate on my first time with acid. So
Is this a new project?
this was the project that released in August.
Okay.
It's my debut EP. So I walked in a circle for 2 hours writing that song. And then I went home and I recorded it and blah, blah, blah. I didn't change much from the version that's out now. And so I just remember that I was up for like 14, 16 hours. And I'm just like working on this song, and I'm doing night photography, and I'm doing all the things creative. And then I'm having a conversation for like 2.5 hours with my friend's homie on a roof. And I'm just like, fuck, the stars are talking to us right now. And then I go and make music, and it's like some of the best, most realized music I've ever made, because I'm in that zone. I'm in that zen. I'm there, you know?
So I want to talk about that for a second. I want to talk about that. How long have you been in the scene of music? Like, and I don't mean the scene in terms of like maybe playing shows or what have you, but when you decided this is what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
When was that jumping off point?
It was, to be frank, because, I started taking music very seriously in 2015, started music digitally. Ooh, excuse me. In 2011, the beer kicking in.
Shit, we don't have any more around our.
Shit,
Yeah,
you should know. It's 6:33. Remember?
I know, but we're in deep conversation.
Okay.
I knew this was going to happen.
I knew
All
this was gonna happen.
I knew this was
Yeah.
going to happen.
Yeah, I just want to respect your time.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, much appreciated for that.
Yeah, 2015. I was like, I want to do this professionionally, but I was still saying. Oh, can I get one too, please? Yeah, thanks, man.
I was going to say, we might as well just bring the bowl. I mean,
Right.
It's like Halloween at this point. Like,
Right.
It does look like Halloween. I love
Bro, Halloween this year got to go fucking
It's gonna be
crazy.
ridiculous.
Oh, my
I have
God.
7 outfits planned.
Oh my God.
Why don't we throw it here?
We could
Let's throw a fucking Halloween party here. Let's do a Halloween podcast.
This would be
Crazy.
fat rager here.
Crazy.
Let's do a Halloween podcast.
Spooky. But yeah, I took music seriously in 2015, although I wanted to be an actor at that time. And then I was like, I'm going to get my MBA. And I didn't understand that you need to have a bachelor's before you get your master's in business administration. So I was just like, fuck it. I'm going to go to ASU and do a digital culture with a music concentration bachelor's degree. And then I was there for a year. And then I was like,
is that the interdisciplinary degree or no?
it's not that it's interdisciplinary.
Because you're doing two things.
No, it's
So it's
one
two
thing
minors
with a concentration.
concentration in it, right.
So when I got into that whole track, they were showing me a Mogan Heap with how they have the gloves and making music with it and so forth.
Oh,
And
Dude,
I was
that's
like,
next level.
Hey,
That's next
wearable
level
tech.
music.
Oh,
well,
Yeah.
that is the future.
that is his future. 2017. That was 2017. So I was like, oh, I'm in the right place. So I got to know a whole bunch of them cats, did group projects
yeah.
and blah, blah, made
Yeah.
friends, lifelong friends.
That's
and
awesome.
then,
Speaking of friends, thank you for the beer, by the way.
yes. And thank you for being here.
Thanks. Thanks for the invite. I appreciate it.
And so I transitioned out of that because I'm like, they're teaching me shit that I've been learning on YouTube for the last 10 years of my life.
The greatest teacher of all time.
Right, the greatest teacher of all time. Sad for all these other teachers, man. They need to be paid more, for real.
My wife would appreciate that. She's a 5th grade teacher.
Yeah, seriously,
for
right?
Ed.
Very important. Red
100%.
for Ed.
I was on the news for that.
Hell yeah.
I was playing guitar. I brought my guitar and they like recorded me. I made a little song on the spot.
Yo, give me that. Yo, sync placements. Do y'all have any sync placements?
What does that mean?
Oh,
Where
music,
my sync is?
music placements, like getting your music onto movies and shows
Oh,
and promos.
somebody-
and all.
no.
It's called sync placements.
That
And
might
there's-
have to be the next move. Shit.
Yeah,
My roommate
let's-
was telling me about
We
that.
have to chop it up after because
100%.
there were 6 different types of royalties, but now because there's blockchain and all this shit, there's going to be a 7th type of royalty that will happen through like NFTs and so forth. So that's going to be something that we're going to have to chop it up about. And
Yeah.
my man here, he's into his crypto.
Hell yeah.
I'm into my crypto.
Dogecoin.
It's-
I'm right there with you.
nah, don't say that around me.
That's just
That shit's hilarious.
But
Right.
they did update their blockchain, so we'll see. And that Elon Musk.
I'm interested to talk to you about Tron, by the way.
Yeah, he's
Tron.
accepting Bitcoin now.
Yo, I remember when I was first fucking around with Tron, and then I looked at it a little bit ago, and I was like, "Fuck yeah, good on ya!" In fucking 2016, buddy.
Yeah, good on you. Yeah,
It did. Yep.
yeah.
I'm just sitting on it at this point.
Oh,
Sitting.
dude,
Oh,
milk
you're
it.
sitting.
I'm just sitting on it at this point.
What exchange are you on?
It was Binance before they kicked my ass off
Before
because
they-
we're in US.
Yep.
And then I had to go Binance US. Now the issue that I'm having is I have to pull my wallet from old school. So I don't and the thing with Binance is you have to like you can't call them. You have to like email and then go back and forth. So I'm still waiting to get my shit. But I know exactly how much I bought in the past and I'm looking at what it's worth now and I'm just like sitting on it.
Yo, let me give you this because I just spent a week trying to pull my money out of Robinhood. Finally got it. We robbed the bound.
I never did Robinhood.
Oh, don't
Yeah,
do it.
don't
never
do
did
it. Don't do
Robinhood.
it. Don't
Yeah.
do
I've
Robinhood.
heard a lot of bad
It's
things.
a corporate scheme.
Yeah.
Corporate scheme. But at the base of it, okay, have a cold wallet. Exchange through the exchange programs like Binance, Coinbase and so
yeah.
forth. Use them to put your money in, watch it move, whatever. But if it's not your keys, it's not your money. So transfer your ownership over to your cold storage wallet. Because if you buy from some of these cold storage wallets, you're paying like $59 for about $1,700. And that shit adds up. Granted, you make your profit back probably, the next week. But exchange through the exchanges.
Can you explain to people what a cold wallet is?
A cold wallet is, think about it. Think about if this was my wallet and shit, can't show you a phone because the phone's on Wi-Fi. But think about a regular wallet. It's not connected to the internet. And there are different fail safes that you have with your money not being on the interwebs, right? So with a cold storage wallet, I have this thing called Ledger, and it looks like a USB, but it's not a USB. You connect it to your computer, and you have a password that you put in, and then you have a 24-word fail-safe thing that you do. So no one can
It's like a security passphrase type deal, like
Passphrase,
the whole, but even
exactly.
more so, right?
Exactly, right? And so with Ledger, they have a whole interface, and you can see the way your money moving. You can exchange and buy, and they have a partner called Coinify that you can do that all with. And then they go through various other people for certain other cryptos, because not every crypto is like
Listed
applicable.
on every exchange.
Exactly, but they'll be like, yo, this is the wallet for it. So they'll get that in there. But the thing is about fees. So with cold storage wallets, there are a lot of fees for being able to buy on them, right? And so a little way around it that I figured out is you exchange on your exchanger like Coinbase or Binance US, and then you transfer that over to the wallet. And this is valuable information for a lot of new people getting in the space, because more and more people are going to get in through Cash App, PayPal, one day Apple Wallet, so forth, blase blase. But the thing is that they do not actually own those coins, and their money is being used to take risks.
It's much like a bank. It's much like a bank. You buy something and then they invest, right?
Right.
They invest where they can. If you make the money back, then
Well,
your
they're
money
taking
isn't
your margin.
touched.
They're
Huh?
just taking your margin. They're betting. They're betting what you supposedly have with them against it. It's just how all those hedge funds
Just like
play.
shorting.
Yeah, it's just
Right.
how the hedge funds play the stock market. It's how they're attempting to play the crypto market like that. But that's not how the market works.
Talk to us, bro. Talk to us.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So I'm sorry, real quick. Hold on. We are gonna come back to crypto because I want to talk a whole bunch about this. But I also want to go back real quick just to your artistry, because
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
we will talk back about this. But I also like I've heard one track, and this is my biggest flaw. Is I have, and this is an excuse, but I lead a busy life, so I try to pick up where I can. And after he showed me the track that you had him featured on,
Options.
and I was like, holy shit, because it almost seems you're not doing what everyone else does, in the sense of you, and maybe you've done this in the past, I don't know, but you're not just buying beats and then putting something. You're trying to create something new, and that showed through. And I'm probably biased because I know this guy, but it showed through in the track because there's variances in your music.
Yeah.
That's different.
Time variances.
That's different.
Melody
So
differences.
have you always been that way, or did it start with, maybe just going off of a beat that you got off YouTube, or was it something that where you broke out the synth and you made your own thing, or how did that start? Like, how does that develop who,
Toddy is today. Yeah. So it started off just being exposed to music, right? Just being exposed to all kinds of different R&B and so forth. Simple. Then it went into band. I was in band. I played alto sax. And in alto,
you played the sax?
Oh yes.
You
Yes,
can make
sir.
me melt right now.
I definitely actually could. I'm lying. I'm shit now, but I'm better at piano. But that made me, without actually making music, I was able to explore music theory and learn how to read notes and all the different shit through 7th grade band. And that was before I even thought about making music. And being a kid of the internet, after that class, everything else clicked. Like, it all clicked. I hopped on music production software on the internet. Like, I could only make music on the internet. And so with that, I was dragging in samples, making drum loops and all that stuff. And it wasn't fully original, but it was like EDM. And then you'd have this wide sample collection. So I'd be dragging in hip hop, country, and all that stuff.
Well, it's a
And then
universal
trying to-
language.
Right. So I tried to mash them all together before I fully knew how to articulate through these tools and equipment. And as time progressed on, in learning all these different styles, because I just love music. I love rock. I love indie folk. I love this and that. And I'm like, why can't they all inform each other? Same way with language. Like, I understand that the language that we're speaking right now is English, and English is informed by X, 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 and so forth. And I'm like, it's kind of like the same thing. We like to say it's universal language, but I don't know if it's like that. You can't go that far sometimes. Right. But it got me to the point to where when it came to do options in 2018, because that's when I made it, and I'm a different artist now, but when I made it, I'm like, well, shit. She got to feel like a boss. She got to sound like a boss. I got to sound like I know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Right.
But I also got to make a critique on the consumerist movement that's been happening, right? So when we listen to options, I'm not actually sitting here relishing in all the luxury that I have. I'm making a critique on the fact that we base so much on the fact that we have luxury, when the real luxury is being able to have dreams and aspirations and chase, have exactly that. Not just like, oh, the Comme des Garçons in Y3. Like, no, it's not just that. It's way much more, right? And so in 2018, no matter how much someone could say if it's fully realized or not, that's exactly what I hit on. That's the feeling that I hit on. And that's what has encapsulated some of the, like, people are still talking about it. And I made it, 3 years ago, right?
Wow.
And the debut EP sounds nothing like it. My tonsils were still in. And so my tonsils made it sound like everything I was saying was not like nasally.
That's
right?
the first thing I thought of that sounds like, whoa, this does not sound anything like what we were recording. Like,
Right. And I've gotten better at mixing, so I know how to make things sound more one-to-one and bring out the best parts in them. But before, back in 2018, I wasn't working under that theory. I was trying to hit this whole industry standard and blase, and everything's highly compressed. And then as time went on and I revisited options, I was able to be like, well, we just need to take off majority of the reverb on her vocals. Like, this guitar is sitting this way. Well, I know in rock that they like to pan it to the right and pan it to the left in certain areas and blah, blah, blah. So, like, let's do that. They're like,
Did you produce that yourself? Options.
what you think? What you think?
I hope so.
So I had him come in.
who did you get for the bassist?
The bassist, that man.
W.
He's in the band I'm in. You know, RozoTadi in the CAs. He's the music director of the CAs. And his name is Gabe Corgan. He actually has his wedding next week.
Tight.
Shout out to
on
Gabe
Sunday.
Corgan.
Yes,
shout out to
yes.
Gabe Corgan.
He's
All the blessings.
all the blessings. Yeah, no, that was he learned how to slap bass because of that song.
Dude, that's good.
Right?
No shit.
And so,
yeah.
like, and this is all respect to him and his talent. Majority of it was not on beat because he was fresh. But this was like my first time ever even seeing a bass slapped in front of me. Right?
Hot.
And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So I sat there for an hour, chopping up every single hit, put it all on beat. I'm like, this shit is fucking fire.
And you know that feel, like that moment.
Yeah.
Yes, I put in the work for that. Like, I knew he put in the work because my band, they fucking study, and it creates a certain standard that if I'm not hitting it, it make me feel like I can't even be in the band, right? So I'm dealing with real musicians.
Well, that's the best way to do it too.
Yeah.
If you surround yourself around people that are better than you,
You will get better.
you're always going to be not only better but challenged.
Yeah,
No one wants to be
That
around
keeps
people
it
that don't
interesting.
challenge them.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
That's why I surround myself around people that are 10 times smarter than myself. I mean, I'm a fucking idiot. I'm sure you guys have seen. But, you know, if I can surround myself around people that make me question, like, maybe I should be doing that, or maybe I should be thinking about that. It challenges myself in my own time, and not in like a, fuck, you're not good, or you don't know this, but it's more of like a, maybe you should know that. So do more.
do more, right? So I just started playing piano with my band, and fuck me, right? So the start of COVID, my boy Julian had left back to Pittsburgh, and so while he was in Pittsburgh, he left his keyboard at the crib that we was all staying in.
Nice.
And so I sat there every single day learning it and
That's the move.
going through the different synths, and it had FM synthesis, so there were variations of real sounds in there. And I ended up like learning this synth so much to the point that it showed up so much on my debut EP, because that was the exact period that I was working on all the tracks for my EP, like creating them from start or working on them 3/4 in. And so I just learned so much. And then once I started getting festival placements through the whole live streaming thing, like big time shows became more accessible through this journey, through COVID quarantine. And so I started playing piano as I was doing it. And I had always had this obstacle of not being able to sing while playing piano because my brain couldn't do all that, right? And so during that time, I learned how to do that. And then I started going to shows, and then I went out to Santa Ynez, and it felt like an accumulation of the last 3 years to that point of like learning about music theory and piano and being able to articulate myself through it. Had that experience in Santa Ynez with a professional crowd, maybe about like 8 people, but music industry professionals, like working with Beyonce, touring for 25 years, blah, 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 so forth and so forth. And they're like, yo, that was dope. I felt that. And I don't want to base everything on gratification, but damn it, that felt good.
Right.
Fuck yeah.
That felt fucking
All
good.
that work. That's just
All that
accumulated
fucking work, bruh.
just somebody to tell you that, you know, you're doing it. Like,
You're doing it.
Let me ask you a question on that. I've been a firm believer since I started out acting, and that was like my go-to. Like I would act, I would be on stage and sing, and that was my thing. But you have to put the work in, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't just come to you and you're like, oh, I get it. There's some people like that. There's some people that they just get it.
But for how long can you just get it without?
Exactly.
expanding.
And
upon
so
what you know.
part of that question is in putting the work in putting hours and devoting your time to the craft and everything else. I'm a firm believer in the fact that it doesn't come from the human that sits before you. I'm a firm believer that it doesn't come from the brain that was developed throughout time. That might play a part of it, but there's a muse that dances. And one of my best mentors, Ross Collins, I mean, he's a phenomenal stand-up dude. I mean, he would always say, like, if you're doing things correctly the way that you should be, the muse dances.
Woo.
And the second that you lose focus, the muse will recognize that you've lost focus and they stop dancing. And then as soon as the muse stops dancing, your audience recognizes that the muse has stopped dancing because no longer do you have that energy around you.
You're no longer authentic.
Exactly. And so that's it. Couldn't have said it better. It's no longer authentic. It's no longer coming from that place that we all as musicians can tap into. It's coming from you. And when it comes from you, your ego steps ahead and says, oh, this is coming from Tyler. And it's like, no. Whoa, wait, take a step back. If it comes from Tyler, it's not authentic. If Tyler is just the representation of where that comes from, then that will show itself.
Right.
And that's something that I've struggled with as a musician
That makes people move.
because I'm trying to figure it out and I'm like, oh my God, I lost the muse. Well, what made you lose the muse?
Okay. But for the viewers though, how do you get back? How do you allow to muse to dance again? How do you allow that muse to dance again?
Ego death.
Get out of
Ego
my own
death.
head. Well, that
You
requires
gotta-
a lot of drugs.
You gotta, well,
You don't gotta be drugs.
it can
Yeah,
it can be a lot of things. It can be drugs, but that's short lived. That's short. I feel like that's short lived.
Very short-lived.
In that moment, if you're tripping your nuts off, you're like, oh my God, yeah, we're all vibrating at the same frequency, and death is nothing but an understanding of the fact that we all resurface as something new. Like, yeah, you could go to that
Ego
point,
death.
Oh,
you talking from a veteran right here,
but but
fucking vet.
at the same time, you have to come to terms with the fact that you don't know it all. And I think that is one of the biggest challenges that I've faced in my own personal musician career is coming to terms with, I can write something on paper and I might think it's great. And I can put it into Logic. I can put it on a guitar. I can sit there and play it. I might think it's great. But what part of me thinks it's great? Do I think it's great because I wrote it, or do I think it's great because I feel like someone else can vibe from it? And I've struggled with this because at the end of the day, whatever I write, I don't really give a flying fuck if you like it or not. If you vibe with it, awesome. Then that's just a plus. It's more for me than anything else. But if I'm writing it for you, if I'm wanting you to like it, I'm only hurting myself. I'm only hurting myself, because at the end of the day, I really don't know if it's going to come off the same way as it would if I felt it. Am I reading somebody else's lines, or am I reading my own lines?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, the whole purpose for music, in my perspective, is I like it because it feels good to me, and other people will look at it and they'll like it too, and that's cool. Hop on board.
Right.
Hop on board.
I'm just trying to make music to make myself.
But again, it's about, and for me, you know, that's my interpretation of it. It's all about the muse. If they're not dancing, you know. Yeah. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why modern culture nowadays with the music that's coming out, people are like, oh yeah, one hit wonder, great. Oh, that's a great song, 100%. You put it out there and that's great. You want to come out with a single, but you can't come out with a full on album, or you can't come out with an album that has a couple features, or, you know, to each their own. And there's probably going to be, you know, some people that are like, you don't fucking understand, whatever. But if it's not true to you, then who is it true to?
Now, one of the things that we have to pay attention to is the fact that no matter what, as a consumer in Western civilization, capitalism informs your personal opinion more than you may think.
Yes.
And so some of the demands that they have for artists are based in the do aspect, are based in the profitable blah 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 aspect, to where you're not doing enough. That's why you're not a one hit wonder. Or XYZ, that's why you're not a one hit, that's why you're a one hit wonder, and blah blah blah. It's like, hold on, pause. At the end of the day, I'm making great art, baby. Yeah. Did I do a marketing campaign for you? No? Is that why you're mad? Oh, I'm so sorry. The marketing campaign didn't hit hard enough.
I just feel like you ripped the Band-Aid. And some people are just like, hey, you didn't have to do that. Like, you didn't have to go that far. No, I think you're right. Like, I think true art speaks for itself. Do you need a marketing campaign behind it? In certain circumstances, yeah, because I think the market's pretty saturated at this point right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, you probably need a good amount of people to help you out.
Mm-hmm.
Market's very saturated.
But good art speaks for itself.
But the thing is that the market will always be saturated, and so it's a constant upheaval of how can I stick out? How can I be the best, or how can I be the most chart-topping artist, or et cetera, et cetera. And it's not like that for everybody, because I have friends and they tell me. But it's a matter of, for me at least, getting on the personal aspect. It's like, first of all, I want to make the best art as much as possible. I also know that right now music is not my nest egg. It will be a nest egg, but it's also not going to be my primary source of income for the rest of my life. I want to make sure I get to.
Wouldn't it be great if it was, though?
I don't care for it enough. Like a music business, I want to know it. I want to navigate. And it would be dope if it was the primary source of income. But at the end of the day, no matter what, it's just going to be a nest egg for me. Because I do too much, I think too much, and I say too much for music to be my only thing. Right. And so music production is my number one. You know, and recording and songwriting and all that, it works for me. I put in the hours for it. I love it, but music production is my number one. You
want to be a breeder of other artists that want to do the same thing.
I don't care much for that. I am an entity, right? So I don't want a label. I don't want a distribution company or anything like that. And my future self is probably going to be like, ha, you thought, and then probably have one. But I have
glorious thing about the internet.
Right. I'm a business owner. I'm a music entrepreneur outside of just having this enterprise as RozoTadi being the independent artist. Yeah. You know, like I'm working on tech. I'm working on social justice and what does it look like to have a truth commission within Arizona, you know, to talk about certain things that need to be talked about and give people certain platforms to speak their truths. Yes. And
I like how you say their truth.
Yes, yes. So when I'm moving at a matter of that, then the fact for me is that music is more so a segue. I'm always going to be doing music. Like, even if I'm president, I'm still going to be busting tracks out.
Be the dopest president of all time.
Right. You feel me?
The
like,
beats in the office.
I'm still going to be putting in the hard work on the music, but I know my calling. My calling is everywhere. To put it simply, like the calling is everywhere. That's not specific enough for an investor, but my calling is everywhere.
But who's the ultimate investor?
Right here.
You are.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah. I've known him for about, so I've known him since May of last year. We're going on 11 months. But like, we're just now really.
What are you guys doing for the anniversary?
Yeah, I was like,
Shit, he's going to be back in Boston.
oh, you
going back to Boston?
Yeah, but I'm going to beat his ass in Borderlands 3 though. I'm telling you that.
Hey.
Those duels.
I'm gonna have to get your guys' Xbox names because I do not have as many friends as I would want on Xbox. I'm also
my
not
friends
on as much as I would like to, but
on Borderlands.
I still haven't finished the campaign, but all my friends on Xbox asking me for money, so I'm like, I need new friends right now. Like, shit, everybody down bad, bro. Like,
COVID season.
I'm just trying to play Borderlands.
So I want to kind of talk to you and go about where the future of your music is headed.
Yeah, we need to talk about that. I'm working on visuals. I want to get down my visual tip.
Well, I noticed that on your Instagram. Your Instagram is very eye-catching.
absolutely.
I went on and I was like, oh, maybe I'll see some clips. Maybe I'll see some music videos. Maybe I'll see that. But what I saw was like artistry, but not artistry in the sense of like, check out my music or check out that. It was more like you're a photographer.
Yeah.
Like is a visualist a word?
No, I would take
Like it almost
I'm
seems
a visionary.
visionary. Like you want people to not, and I might say this the wrong way, so forgive me, but you want people to portray you a certain way, so you encapsulate certain moments a certain way and be like, this is who I am, but not in an egotistical way.
Right. Not in an egotistical, narcissistic way, but I
Correct.
want them, whenever you interact with me on any platform, one of my goals is to be able to make you think about the future. I love the future.
Do you?
I love the future. The futuristic tech where batteries are going to be at 10 years from now,
solid
you know?
states. Oh,
All of that.
That gets this physics major hard as fuck,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. But like with my posts, like I said, I'm dormant. I'm a dormant public figure because I've been in the books. I've been.
I like how you say you're dormant, but you do so much,
I do so much.
right?
Yeah.
A dormant volcano doesn't explode all the time.
Right, but it's always bubbling. Like it's
you-
not solid. You feel me? So like
Yes.
I'm always bubbling. I'm always learning. Like I'm so deep in the books right now. Like my mom envies my book collection, and she's 46 years old, 47 years old, whatever the fuck. And I'm like,
your mom's an awesome lady. I remember her. She's awesome.
my mom is awesome. My mom is awesome. She definitely looks out. She supports me in all kinds of different ways. But
Shout out to Tadi's mom.
Shout out to Mama Tadi. For my future though, man. Right now, I'm trying to figure out how to encapsulate the idea of a single and being able to condense some of the big ideas that I was presenting within my debut EP. Right? Because in my debut EP, I was tackling the idea of a revolution, not a reformist movement, right? The civil rights movement, that's reformist. I'm talking about a full-scale revolution. And what does that look like? And what does it look like to put so much in and practically lose yourself in the process? That was the whole thing. Isn't
that what it's about? Isn't that what an EP, an album, music, isn't that what it's about? You put so much of yourself into it that you end up losing yourself, but then you listen to the finished product and find exactly what you wanted from the get-go.
I found what I wanted, because when I say I do research, I do research. I do empirical political inquiry research methods, right? And so
You said a lot of words that I'm going to need you to explain.
right.
Is there
Research methods is the
I'm a dumbass,
simplification.
again.
Social research. I do social research. So when we're talking about empirical,
is there numerical values like behind this type of research, or is it just
there's
all
numerical
qualitative?
political statistics and so forth. Okay. Like when we're looking at communities and people groups and data, like how can we turn this data into tangible things, right?
Yeah.
So like automatically when you think about marketing goes over into social research off tops, right? It's just that I'm trained in a political standpoint. So
Sorry.
no, go ahead.
No, continue.
Oh,
Like,
right. Right. And so I'm trained in this in such a way that, you know, being able to go into situations where I'm discussing epistemology. It's like, how do you know what you know? And ontology. And it's like, what is reality kind of situation? And being able to apply that into different forms of art through mediums, but also through ways of getting out the art. And one of the ways that I'm trying to get out the art this time is, one, condensing the ideas. By no means am I sacrificing any part of myself, but making it more narrow, you know, because sharpening the tip, but also just understanding that the reading level for the mass amount of people in America, at least I can speak for, is 5th grade.
Yeah, not
right. So using big words, or using words coupled like empirical political inquiry, I can't just be saying that in music and expect everybody to get that.
Yeah, no, 100%. That hurt my ego.
No, but like that's not an expectation that I can have. Like, we're top 1% educated. Bottom line, like the shit you talked about today, that's top 1% educated within the world. Yeah. And so that's like understanding that we're going back to responsibility. So if I'm making single music and I know what gets people, first of all, I'm making music for myself. But if I want to get down the art of a single and encapsulate that with a marketing campaign and so forth, I know what I need to do, right? And no, I'm not going to sacrifice myself. But guess what? I'm good at offering critique. And I may not be the best at satire, but I'm good at offering critique. You know this from Options. Like, Options is not just about materialistic values, right? That was the beginning for me. So it's like following up after work like that. Yeah. Comes the debut EP. What does it look like to follow up after the debut EP? It looks like maybe not what people want it to look like, but what it needs to look like, right? So like,
but people don't know what it needs to look like until you set the vision.
Exactly.
You have to set the vision.
Exactly.
And until you set the vision, and I feel like this comes a lot with people that are striving to find new music. Mm-hmm. People that want new music, they just want new inspiration. They want something new to hone in on, if that makes sense. Like onto they've already, you know,
let's orbit this idea for a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah. But that's not a bad thing. That's a great thing. Mm-hmm. If you can take an idea and twist it in a way that makes someone say, hey, this is what you need to get. And they're like, oh, wait, I get that.
Right. Innocuous for VR porn.
So going back to the world actor theory, right? I learned about that.
Which still fucks me.
Right. Yeah. I learned about that very early in my college career. I'm in my 4th year, and putting something to use that I learned about in sophomore year into art. It looks like me saying a whole bunch of stuff that you may be able, at surface level, you may be able to pinpoint onto like shit that doesn't matter. But then like when you really listen to it, I have the single coming out. By the time this releases, it might already be announced, but Lightspeed. In Lightspeed, it sounds like, oh, he's talking about a girl, and he's talking about, oh, his homies and blah, blah, blah. But like, really listen to it, right? I'm not going to be able to break down the lyrics on this podcast, but
are they not something?
I'm going to have you back on here. Don't worry.
You're going to have me back on here. But like with the lyrics in that, man, it's like, it's a whole critique on the extent in which we go for pleasure.
So that's why it's called
See, but you haven't heard the song, so it's like there's so many different ways you can attribute the name Lightspeed.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
So it's funny because
you got to hear the song.
It's funny because
you make your own.
I spoke to Emmett King on here, and one of the most intriguing things that I talked to him about was he puts it all out there as if it's like I want to entice people that listen to this kind of music in. I want to get them in. But then as soon as they're in, I'm going to change their mindset based off of my lyric content, based off of what I'm doing with the music. I mean, there's a song that he has that you know, he'll say something and then the background content is oh, and it's like there's a reason he does that.
Yeah.
You know, it's initially you're like, you know, one of his most recent was Dollars and Things. And so you listen to it and you're like, oh, Dollars and Things. And then you listen to it, you're like, this is not what the fuck I thought it was.
Right.
And I love when artists do that. I love when artists do that. Because it takes the social construct that we have now and says, no. Sit down.
Uh-huh.
Here's what I'm trying to say.
Right. And the thing is, though, is that a lot more artists than we think are actually doing that, knowingly and unknowingly, right? And so as consumers and prosumers, we offer critique in situations like these, not even really understanding the full vision, right? The full steps that it took to even get to this point. So when we listen to things like Migos and so forth, it's up to you how you want to take it. And it's very easy to be like, oh, these is trap niggas, they doing this, they doing that, blah, blah, blah. But like, really listen to it. I see a whole culture being painted in a way that you can say that it's easily glorified, but when they're saying it outright, and I'm thinking about the kind of pain that goes with it and so forth, it's much more to me than it is for someone that grew up in white suburbia that has nothing to do with that, right? So what if you really up here cooking crack in a fucking Pyrex thing, you know, measuring thing, like I really got to sit here and think like, fuck, like you really down bad to sit here and be doing it. You're not doing this shit for fun.
But I don't think that most people get that. I think there's a good amount of people that are like, yeah, I get that. I don't think the masses that listen to it are like, do you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, they're not hearing the struggle. All they're hearing is, oh, no shit.
Think about NWA, fuck the police. What was they hearing? What was the mass amount of audience that had the opportunity to have technology that played this music? Mm-hmm. What were they thinking?
Fuck the police.
They were thinking, fuck the police.
It was deeper than that.
But like, imagine you're a white 13-year-old boy from the suburbs of Chicago, not even understanding what redlining is. And you are hearing this and you're like, fuck the police. That's a cool
Most
concept.
people nowadays don't even know what redlining is.
Yeah, what's redlining?
See, redlining.
Red lighting.
No, redlining.
Redlining. Do you know what redlining is? Because your mama know and she spat some game on it.
I know a little bit, but not a lot.
Right. So essentially, when it came down to housing in Chicago, right, we know that Chicago wasn't segregated, blah, blah, but like Jim Crow was everywhere, even if it was just in the South, right? The realtors and the companies and so forth, they would redline neighborhoods out and put them away from voting, like certain amenities and, you know, certain housing and all that. And once you redline a community,
they would put property restrictions on what you could rent, what you could own, how, and increase rent, increase mortgage to the point where you couldn't afford certain things.
Exactly. You couldn't afford certain things. But think about if you are a white passing individual, right? And you have the luxury in 1965 to put on your census that you are Caucasian, right? You have that luxury because you know the kind of benefits that would come with it. Yeah. And you end up buying a house in this newly furnished place, suburb in Chicago. The realtor is going to send you to a different place than they are going to send me when I have come to them with my family, right? They're going to put me in a neighborhood that is outside of your neighborhood. They're going to put me in a neighborhood where it's going to be around more minorities and so forth within my socioeconomical class, right? And that ultimately informs my access to public education. That informs my access to voting polls and knowledge and different communal institutions that help build, you know, the foundations of society, right? So with that understanding, then that gets into a whole deeper conversation. Like we can't just talk about redlining without talking about the kind of shit that was happening in Reconstruction, right? Yeah. Because when we talk about Reconstruction, post-Civil War, post-Emancipation Proclamation, it's not like, okay, you get it. Like the African American population were slaves, but what happened after, between the point of the end of the Civil War and the Civil Rights movement, right? There's this whole Reconstruction period, right? And yes, we have left that Reconstruction period, but what happened in that period ultimately set up generations of people being lifted up while others put down, right? And so not only was redlining one of the things that always happened, it was the idea of when the Western expanse got opened up and people were able to buy land for fucking cheap, right? Guess who that land went to? Guess who the free land and free mule and 40 acres? It actually wasn't even 40 acres for a Caucasian person, European descent. It was 120. They promised us 40 acres and a mule, after slavery. They gave white individuals, white families, and so forth, 120 acres plus the lessons to farm the land and build off of it. So about 35% of all the people in America descend from those homesteaders, from that Homesteader Act, after they ripped away the reparations that was supposed to happen for African slaves. Right. So there's this huge socioeconomical divide, in this whole thing. And then add on top of that, the job market. If I have dreads, I can't be in certain places. If my name sounds a certain way, I can't be in certain places. I can't buy a house because I'm a certain color. And all these different things that proliferate within the capitalist society that no matter what will constantly bleed through the future. Yeah. Even though like people aren't racist anymore.
Just because it was set up that way.
Because it was set up that way.
The long-lasting effects, they're there. And
long-lasting effects.
And I think,
exactly.
and not to tie this into Bitcoin, but I think that's one of the most beautiful parts of, I'm going to say this the wrong way,
decentralizing
finance.
The financing system is, at the end of the day, when you decentralize anything that has to do with monetary gain, there becomes no possible way to redline, because you don't know who the fuck is paying for what. All you know is they have the capital to do so.
Right.
And that's the most beautiful part about it. And this is kind of where we segue back to you, is when it comes to things like that, where do you think that's going? I mean, if you go to a bank and you say, I have this amount to put down, this amount for this amount for that, 50 years ago, it'd be a completely different story than nowadays, where you're like, hey, I have this, and this. What can you give me? More or less, we're in that post-recession type of era where it's like, I'll give you whatever you want. I just want your business.
Yeah.
I just want your business. But when there's nothing centralized, it kind of completely does away with that. So my biggest issue with what we have going on is the people fighting against Bitcoin are really the people that are investing in Bitcoin, because they already know they don't really have a fucking choice. They're trying to, and I've seen this on a couple. So my main news source, and I hate myself for saying this out loud, is Yahoo, because I just feel like the main headlines are there, and it's 9 times out of 10 going to be more left wing than anything else. But at the end of the day, they have a couple ones there that I'm it's more right leaning, and I'm like, fuck, here we go. A lot of the people that have talked shit about Robinhood or Bitcoin or anything like that, those are the people that
us.
What was it?
I said us.
Yeah, but those are the people that are the ones that invested in the beginning and don't want anyone else to gain the benefits of it.
Well,
or at least they caught on to it in 2013, 14-ish.
It's like if
Here, pull your mic up just a smidge.
I was about to say, yeah, I want to hear
back
you.
watching the boom in
2016, 17?
2017. And you watched all of these companies like Goldman Sachs. You got Mark Cuban. You got all these people who are like, I saw, literally you could see it on the fucking headlines.
Lehman Brothers.
It's like
Every day.
everybody's like, oh, all the analysts at Goldman Sachs, all of like Mark Cuban's resources. Oh, Warren Buffett says it's fucking jack shit. Like, they don't like, it's them perpetuating things that have been done in the past so that they can, once they've accumulated enough token, which will be astronomical amounts if they really want to try to control the market, because it's the blockchain grows.
Which goes back to what you were saying about the actor. What was it? The
world actor theory.
the world actor theory.
We can
They're
say
writing.
rational actor theory because we're talking about individuals and not nations.
You said rational actor theory.
rational actor theory.
They're writing the script, and they're saying, "Hey, this is all bullshit," but they're all investing into it and just seeing how
They're
everyone
not
else
the
plays
whales,
out.
though. They're not the whales.
They want to be.
They want to be the whales,
And they'll
but
take all of us-
the same ideas that they used in the stock market to play it, to short it, to play off margin and make these astronomical gains, and really, in all, for lack of better words, they rigged the fucking system.
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
They rigged it for those who make money, keep making money, and those who are retail investors.
Galen, we're going whale watching.
I'm all about whale watching. Like
Was
these
this in
guys,
Scottsdale?
there's probably one there. But like, right? Where was I? But like the whales, right? They know how this. They have an understanding, but they know that they don't know about the market. And anybody who comes in, like the finance chads from fucking ASU.
You can say the Tylers. It's fine.
No, I prefer to use the word Chad. Just
I love
because,
the word
like,
Chad. Fucking Chad player. Hell yeah,
I
dude.
know it's a word and not even a
Finna
name
do it to
anymore.
him.
But it's like they'll come in, right? And like this happened to my buddies at school too. They're like, "Oh, dude, we're gonna like invest and like we're gonna do all these short-term games." And I'm like, "Dude, you have
You're behind.
no idea how volatile." Like the reason why the market you can make so many gains and lose everything is because it's so volatile. Because it has to hit the buy wall, it has to hit the sell wall, and it always just has to like
Do its
go.
Let me ask you this, and I think I hope that people listen to this and they finally understand, because once GameStop hit Yahoo,
Yeah.
and every big news market, you're already behind the curve.
Oh, yeah,
So
100%.
can you just tell everybody?
Oh, you know.
Can you just fucking tell everybody? Once you read about it,
Yeah,
it's already over.
yeah. It's the same thing with like, oh, Elon tweeted, I'm gonna go invest, bro. You're already fucking.
You're
10 steps
behind.
behind.
And once
You're
you invest,
fucked.
it's gonna tank.
and then you're
and-
gonna freak out.
Exactly.
But because nobody takes, like, if you're gonna get into crypto, you have to leap into the market and believe that, all right, I'm gonna get in at a certain point, but the market's gonna keep fucking riding this ginormous roller coaster.
And do your research on Reddit.
You can do your research on Reddit, but really what it is do your fucking research on the projects. Like,
Yeah.
On the projects.
on the
Like,
project.
that's deeper.
Yeah.
Like you have, like if you are going to invest in cryptocurrency, you need to do your research on like any projects. Like for instance, Hive, their blockchain network
Right over my head.
is here. Like the way they've designed it is to create a wireless mesh network off of every individual's device.
What does that mean?
So right, it's just interconnected. So from my cell phone to yours,
It's like a web.
So it's like Bluetooth.
To ours.
in
It's
essence,
like
yes.
Bluetooth almost.
In essence, yes. More so, think
A
about
dumbed
it
down
as-
version of it would be
well, think about it as your wireless modem in your house.
okay.
Yeah, it's just constantly sharing data, pretty much.
Constantly. It's
like
very
beeping,
open.
I'm here.
It's
Oh,
like
who's out
always
there?
like big open source stuff. Like
Yeah.
sharing of data is huge. Like at the end of the day, like our data
That's worth a lot.
it's worth a lot, but the thing is
As made
everybody
by
already
Facebook?
has so much access to it, right? And like the thing is, if you look at like you can look at cryptocurrency, or specifically you can look at stocks as well. It's all a social game. The only reason any of this fucking shit works is because we agree, and we agree it has value.
Yeah.
Right? So
That's
it goes back to like,
We
why does
agree.
capitalism supposedly work? Well, initially people all fucking bought in. They're like, oh, well, I see value in this system, I'm going to give it that. I was having a conversation with my buddy, and he's like, oh, Elon Musk created Tesla, therefore he created value in himself. I was like, no, he didn't create value in himself. Other people gave that to him. It took years for him to build that.
Yeah.
Granted, like he's literally running the fucking market off of a meme. That's all
Yeah,
he's doing.
it's so great.
That's all he's fucking doing. And it's a big social experiment, and he's fucking winning. Like in the past 2 months, Homeboy has made more money on Bitcoin than he has in his total sales over like what, 2-3 years of selling all of his fucking Teslas? Like, are you fucking kidding me? PayPal in January bought 95% of all the recently mined Bitcoin. Like, it's all going that way. Like,
Holy shit.
for anybody like fucking Warren Buffett, all of these big 1% guys and like companies to tell you that no, this isn't gonna moon, this isn't gonna be the future. Like,
The fuck it's not.
what the fuck? We had the Industrial Revolution. We're about to have a huge tech revolution. Like,
So
you could
what
go
would
into,
you
like,
say-
the transhumanism thing of meshing of tech and humans?
Yeah.
But like that's way down the road. But like
That's
still.
2100.
Neuralink. What would you say to people that are just now getting into
Cyberpunk 2077.
what was it?
You said
Cyberpunk.
Yeah, you said Neuralink. I'm like 2077, bro.
What would you say to people that are just now getting into crypto as the best advice? Because I fear, and I've seen it, like as someone that's been in the market for a minute, once you hear about it, it's game over. And the second that you heard about the GameStop thing, I mean, even myself, I'm like, wait, what's going on with GameStop? And everyone's like, buy GameStop, hold. I'm like, no, you
The
guys
shit
are
went
so
up.
fucking wrong.
The
Or
shit
buy
went up
Doge.
January 7th. You heard about it January 21st.
Exactly.
It was already at its peak.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
5 days late. Like,
Exactly.
when it hit 60K in fucking what, January?
But the same thing is with Dogecoin. Everyone's like, just hold. I'm like, no, you guys are. You've already lost. If you bought into it, you've already lost.
You already lost today, but you didn't lose 5 years from now.
No,
Remember?
That's true.
That's the
True.
thing.
That's true.
It's all
but they'll
long-term.
sell
But
the
thing-
second it shoots back up,
Yeah.
and they could have had a lot more had they just done their fucking research.
Well, there's the.
So what would
the
you say to those
research-
people?
If you're gonna
73%.
if you're gonna get into fucking crypto, you got to be ready. Like, you got to be ready for the emotional ride that it is. And know
That's the stock market as a whole.
exactly. But like, you gotta, if you're gonna get into it, you have to invest because it's long term. There are coins that are long term investments, and there are coins that are not. And then as you dive into that, I'm not gonna do your homework for you,
Right.
But like, as you dive into that,
Got to
you-
keep the secrets where the secrets lie. You know?
Oh yeah, 100%. But like, you have to understand that there are cycles, and you just gotta watch. And it's a long-term game. If you're going to get into cryptocurrency, you have to acknowledge that it's long-term. You can't go in like Chad from Fiji.
Hell yeah, player.
Fucking hell yeah, player. I'm gonna drop my fucking daddy's $2,000 he gave me for rent into Bitcoin. Fucking homeboy like looks at it next week. He's like, I'm fucking down 5%.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Well, dude, yeah, because you're trying to play the game like it's stocks, and it's not stocks. It's never gonna be the way. Because if you think that a system that has become bigger than the stock market, and the code has become, and the project is something deeper than just holdings, like you
Hodl.
yeah,
Hodl, baby.
hodl,
Hodl. That's my bad.
hodl gang.
So,
But
bro, to add off of what you're saying, I was in my class today, my music product and service development class, and I let them know, I'm like, hey, Bitcoin just passed the Canadian dollar. It's the third currency within the world right now. Like, PayPal just approved 27 million merchants to accept Bitcoin through PayPal, right? Like, if you need any sign that this shit is here, you have 100 of them now. 100. Like we could go across all the different instances. So it's like I let my talent agent know this. I'm like, hey, everybody in this Panera Bread that we're in have around right now, one day and very soon they will have used Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever it is for a transaction at least once in the next 5 years. So the fact that this shit isn't even on your radar right now and you're an entrepreneur, hold on.
Get with it.
Get with it.
Hodl.
Hodl.
Hodl up, boys. Hodl up.
Well, hey, I hate to put a stop to this because I think that we could probably go another 2 hours if I'm being dead honest.
Straight up.
Probably.
But but
For fucking sure.
I feel like we can end on a high point right here. Everyone's checking their phones like, what fucking time is it?
Yeah, it's 7:40.
Look, I want to have the both of you guys back on, and I appreciate all of you guys. I think we need to do this more often.
Yeah, I agree.
This is the first time he's actually been on as a co-host this way.
Yo, you got to be a co-host, bro. Like
Cohort.
like
Co-hodl.
bro. Co-hodl. Like, are you holding?
I don't know. I may hold.
Holding these nuts.
Hey, you
Hell yeah, player! Hell yeah, player! Well, hey, I appreciate the both of you guys being on. Like, every time that I have people on, I learn something new, and I just feel like this
I love
conversation
this. Immersion of knowledge.
was something else. Like, I don't know about you, but like,
I dig it.
I don't know. I love this
Learned a
conversation.
lot.
So the more that we can have this, the better. Graylin.
Galen.
Did I say Graylin?
Graylin?
God
Yeah.
damn it. I apologize. But
you're good.
your knowledge of crypto, I just want to have a one-on-one conversation with you about it and just talk to people that have no idea. And even myself, because in the grand scheme of things, I'm probably about 10%. Right?
Oh man, I'm deep.
Yo, he's deep. Yo, he told me some shit 2 days ago where I was like, oh, he's deep. Not just like, oh, he's deep. I was like, oh. I'm not deep.
Yeah,
he told me because we was breaking down Trading View, we was talking about Tron and all that other shit, but he was talking
what
about,
do I know?
oh yeah, I know as much as my father knows. I got to know his father more than him lately. His father was talking about, yeah, we was mining Bitcoin, yeah, we was living off Bitcoin and all that, blah blah blah, and he was like, yeah, I was right there mining it with them. I'm like, what the fuck you mean? Was you doing like all the hash codes? What you
Jesus
mean?
Christ.
Once you let her run, she rips.
Yeah.
She rips. She fucks butt.
She just rips, and like the thing is, all you got to worry about is your power bill.
Yeah, the power bill.
So how many
bro.
servers did you have?
Oh, we only had like a couple. Like this was
Just a
like
couple.
very- this is
Just a couple.
like-
Did you use NVIDIA GTXs at all?
Not really.
No.
We just used everything that we had in the house. I think we went to Fry's once and bought like 2 RIP Fry's electronics.
He makes it sound
know.
so
Dude, they're still
fucking
there.
simple.
They're still there.
They're gone.
No, they're not.
gone.
He's
Dude,
like, I'm trying to
telling
mine
you.
right now.
I'm telling you,
They're
I
gone.
live in an area where I'm not gonna say it, but I go down the street and there's still one last standing Fry's Electronics. Every time I go down there, I'm like, when's
It's
your last
fucking
day? They're like,
empty.
honestly, it could be tomorrow. I'm like,
Are you
bet.
talking
It
about
could
the
be
one by
tomorrow.
Arizona Mills?
Yeah, the one.
Come on, hey, come on, motherfuckers!
Don't put
Like,
out the business. Don't, they don't need to know where I live at.
don't live anywhere near that.
That's just gone. That's just gone. It's empty. Empty.
It's empty. Yeah.
What?
It's
fucking
Yeah,
empty.
it's
The
been.
building's
It's been.
still
The
there.
building's there, but it's empty.
that makes my dick
Guarantee it.
sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It used to be Candyland, you know.
It was.
That's true.
Capacitor. I bought a fucked up cable there though one time. I was like, damn.
Yeah, y'all motherfuckers got me.
Yeah, you got me. I thought you were good.
Yeah.
Gone got.
Well, okay, Galen, where can we find you?
In the void.
Jesus.
In
the ether, man.
You
Yeah,
could
the
find me
ether.
on Instagram. You could find me on
What's the
What's
at?
the tag? What's the at?
the Bearded Scholar.
The Bearded Scholar?
Yeah.
SKULLER?
SCULLER.
Ah.
Okay.
It's rowing reference. It's a rowing pun.
Oh, it's a
I love
rowing
it.
pun. I gotta get into rowing. See, I'm not here.
We will talk about this on the next time. I will have you back on, I promise.
No, don't worry. I can get you my number. We can chit chat, whatever.
For some
Please.
beers.
Please.
Yeah.
Have some beers.
More beers.
Always beers.
Always beers.
Toddy,
Yeah.
where do we find you?
RozoTadi. Every single place. I started uploading more videos to YouTube. So if you're looking for unboxings, you looking for finance, all the dope shit, hit me up. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be saying this shit all the time.
Oh yeah.
Hell
Yeah.
And again, this isn't the last time we've heard from you guys.
Oh hell no.
We're gonna have you guys back on.
Oh yeah, for
Definitely.
Liddy.
Definitely.
I love it.
Yeah, whenever the next time you're out here, we got to make sure we schedule some shit with them.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Stop by. Even
Yeah.
if it's not a podcast. Fuck it.
Oh,
Let's just jam.
for sure.
Let's just jam because you got the bass in
I
the
got the
whip.
bass in the
I got the MPC and the synth in the whip right now. That's why I'm like, it don't matter. Like,
Nothing matters.
except for the art. But yeah, thank you for having me, man. It's an absolute pleasure. And
Oh, dude, the pleasure's all mine. I appreciate having you guys out and taking your time to come out and do this, because at the end of the day, this would be nothing without artists like yourself. So thank you very much. I appreciate you.
and without artists like y'all selves, you feel me? So thank you.
Put in the production work. Too.
Thank you so
Big-
much.
Right.
stuff.
Yeah, you was like, yo, we got this. Don't worry. Don't worry. And I'm like,
got it.
I know you got it. I know you got it. Yeah.
Bring your camera, but I promise we got angles.
Yeah, we got
got the
angles,
angles.
baby. See, you got
Plenty of
Angles the size of whales.
except for the peacock. The peacock.
George.
have you
Leave
seen
George
my,
alone, man. He's
Hold on.
He ain't bothering nobody.
Have you seen my merchandise? So my merchandise, I am driving in a car. The passenger seat is a fucking peacock. I love peacocks. bro.
Perfect.
Could've
Right?
been-
Like I'm gonna make sure I get that John on camera. You feel me? Yeah, it's gonna be there.
Oh, he hot.
Yeah.
He fucks.
Well,
He fuck.
colorfully.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for listening to the Upstream Podcast. This has been Toddy and Galen, my boy Brandon, and your boy Ty. Thank you so much. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, brother.